Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are still at the r/nosleep subreddit and we're looking at a post submitted by ConnorIsaacWriter. It says, "We were playing hide and seek. What I found was not my brother." Alright, let's get down to it. When I was 11, my parents started leaving me at home to watch my little brother, George. All I wanted to do was play video games and read books. But George was a little demon. If I let him run free, even for a few minutes, I'd find him eating ice cream straight out of the carton or trying to color on the TV screen. And when he did one of these things and either got sick or ruined the TV, guess who got grounded? Not him. So George required constant attention, meaning I couldn't find time to do the things I enjoyed. It was about halfway through one summer that I found some relief to the curse of my little brother, hide and seek. I suggested the game when George was complaining non-stop about how bored he was. For the rest of the summer, it became my go-to game whenever I needed him to shut up. Mostly, it gave me a few minutes away from him. Sometimes I even had fun. We were playing one day and it was George's turn to hide. As I finished counting at the dinner room table, I could hear him giggling in our room upstairs. I didn't need the sound. I knew all his hiding places. He'd already used this one where he stood behind Mom's closet in the back of the closet, the one where he climbed under the bathroom sink, and the one where he squeezed into the space behind the couch. I knew he'd be under the covers in the top bunk, but I didn't feel like finding him yet. The newest Percy Jackson book had just come out, and Annabeth had just gotten kidnapped. If I played my cards right, the game would give me a few precious minutes to see if Percy would rescue her. I wanted to sit down on the couch and open up the book, but if George found me reading instead of searching for him, he'd throw a fit. So I settled for daydreaming about the Olympians as I walked around upstairs calling, "I'm gonna find you," which resulted in muffled giggles as he kicked around in the sheets and buried his head into the pillow. I was so annoyed by how dumb he was. I was biding my time, sitting on my parents' bed, when I heard a loud on the wall separating the two rooms. Through the doorway, I could see clearly the stairs, so I wasn't worried. If he crossed through the hallway, I was more than fast enough to chase him down and tag him before he got to the base. "Safe!" George called. "What?" I jogged down the stairs. "How?" George danced in the dining room, one hand on the table. I beat you. "We were just in our room," I said. "How did you get there?" "Nuh-uh." He laughed, his bare feet slapping the floor. "I was in the pantry." "You weren't in our room at all?" "I swear I heard you up there." George smiled. "I was in the pantry. I knew you wouldn't check there." "But I heard you." "I'm too tricky." My turn to hide again. "Count to 30 Mississippi and don't peek." I decided to believe him. The house always made weird noises, and it wasn't like he teleported downstairs. I was definitely going to catch him in the next round. When I finished counting, I clearly checked every room downstairs before working my way upstairs, calling, "Here I come! I'm gonna get you." Until I heard George's giggle in our room. This time, I knew he was in there. As I walked into the room, there was kicking on the sheets on the top bunk. "Really?" I said, so predictable. I had one foot in the ladder when George darted out of the closet and through the bedroom door. I chased him on instinct and tagged him as he reached the stairs. Then I realized what had just happened. While George pouted about how it was no fair that I had caught him, I walked back into the room. "Is someone there?" I called. Nothing. "I have a gun," I said. "I will shoot you if you don't come out right now." Whatever was in the bed didn't listen, so I reached to grip the blanket and sheets. I ripped everything off the bed as I jumped back and screamed. The bed was empty. I thought about calling my dad, but how many times had I awoken him in the middle of the night? Sure, there was a monster under my bed, only to get yelled at when he checked to find nothing. I was being ridiculous. Everyone knows monsters only come out at night. We played for a while longer, and the more I got bored with the game, the more George seemed to love it. His laughs got louder, his dances got ecstatic. If we were up to George, we might play hide and seek for the rest of our lives, growing old as we counted Mississippis that were never long enough. Eventually, I had a great idea, a hiding spot where George would never find me, a place I could read my book while keeping him entertained. "Okay," I said to George, "when it's my turn to hide. Count to 30 Mississippis. I have a really special hiding spot. You will never find me once I get there." "You can't go outside," George said, "and you can't lock the doors or go into the bathroom." "I won't," I said. "Now go count." Once he was counting, I raced to my bed, grabbed my book, and ran out to the hallway under the attic. I reached up and took the rope with both hands, and as quietly as I could, I pulled it under the door and opened the stairs. Came down. When I was halfway up, George counted 25. And as I shut the door, he called, "Ready or not, here I come." I held in a laugh as George stomped around the house, opening doors and closing and pulling upstairs and pulling curtains. He was never going to find me. The kid would go up the attic. What kid would go up the attic? Even adults only ventured there once or twice a year, and only when absolutely necessary. It was a place of darkness and danger. Even if George thought I was up there, he would never try to come up. With a proud smile on my face, I opened my book and started reading. I'd have to calm down eventually when George started to cry or whatever, but at the moment, I was in pure bliss. I had found my sanctuary. Over the next 10 minutes, George would occasionally scream, "Under the bed!" or "I'm coming!" I just finished another chapter when there was a loud thump, thump, thump against the attic door, like someone was hitting it with a blunt object. My heart beat so hard that I pressed both of my hands against my chest as if I could hold it in place. I scooted backwards on my butt until I pressed up against a stack of boxes, still less than an arm's length away from the attic door. That couldn't have been George. There was no way he'd figure out I was in the attic. Besides, he wasn't near tall enough to knock the door. And he'd have to jump just to reach the rope. Maybe if he was standing on a chair while holding a broom. But that was ridiculous. Something else was knocking the door on the attic. "I found you!" It was George's voice, unmistakably. "What?" I called. "No way!" "In the closet." It was George's voice again, this time from our room. I put a hand over my mouth while one stayed on my chest, desperate to contain every decibel of sound. "I found you." Time to come out. This time the voice was deeper. Still George's voice, but like he was trying to imitate the pitch of a grown man. I turned on my side as best as I could in the small space. I used all my strength to push the boxes on top of the door. If someone opened it, the boxes would come crashing down and crush them. All I had to do was wait for Mom and Dad to get home and everything would be okay. I believed that until I heard a voice that made me bite my tongue so hard it bled. It was my voice, laughing and calling, "Safe, George. You can come back now. I beat you." I should have screamed. I should have done something, anything, to let George know that I had not beat him, that he could not come back. I should have screamed as loud as I could for George to lock himself in the bathroom and not come out no matter what. Not until Mom and Dad got home. But I didn't. George shouted, "Dang it! How did you get there?" What did I think about when I put the boxes over the door was about how hard it would make it to get out of the attic. When George let out a sharp cry of pain, it was like being broken out of a trance. I started frantically pushing the boxes away, desperate to reach him. It must have taken me a full minute to move the boxes. All the while, George was shouting, "Stop it!" and "Help!" There was the clattering of dining room chairs falling on the floor, and finally, a low growl. George let out a high-pitched scream and was cut off abruptly before everything went silent. By the time I got out of the attic, down the stairs and into the dining room, they were gone. The back door was open. In the distance, something moved in the woods. I couldn't make it out between the branches and leaves. There was heavy panting, sharp cracks, and something like tearing of leather. I didn't go to check it out. I closed and locked the door, then called my parents. George was gone. Something took him. A monster. Neither my parents nor the police believed me. They said something broke in. A person, not a monster. Eventually, I came to believe their story. It was just a man that could play tricks. He probably would have taken me too if I hadn't been in the attic. I believed that for a long time until now, 7 years later. My parents were gone. I am home alone and it's nearing midnight. My door is locked, but outside I could hear a voice of a little boy calling my name. "Come out," he says. "I found you." Alright guys, that's the end of this story. So until next time, I'll see you guys. Bye.